Alright guys, how's it going everyone? Let me know if you guys can hear me alright. If the music's too loud, let me turn that down actually a touch. There you go, hopefully that should be a little better. Let me know how that is, let me know if everything sounds fine and stuff. Awesome. Alright guys, so welcome to another episode of our weekend cooking with Coach, presented by Coach Misha. Today we're going to be cooking is a Greek-inspired chicken quinoa bowl. Now I must say up front, I meant to go to Trader Joe's yesterday, didn't have time, meant to go there today, but the line was probably 45 minutes long and I would have been so late to starting the stream that we're going to have to slightly modify all the ingredients, or at least for myself. But that's the great thing about a bowl, or like a grain bowl, is that you can really modify to have anything that you want be in it. Alright? And of course, you guys can stick to the recipe list listed right here as closely as you can, and then you can always add ingredients. You can always take away ingredients if you don't like any, or need to do any sort of substitutions. Let me turn on the music just a touch. Hopefully that should be fine. And again, be sure to let me know if anything's too loud and stuff. Awesome, that's alright. Yeah, I know that there's football at 12, so I'll try to be done with this as soon as we can. Alright guys, so what we're going to be doing first is we quickly want to preheat our oven. What I'm going to do is I'm going to preheat it at 500 for bake, alright? And then what we're going to do is we're going to quickly prep our chicken, because the marinade's going to take about 15 minutes to kind of set and lock in with the chicken. I'm then going to turn on broil, and we're going to broil it for 5 minutes per side for a total of about 10 minutes. Take it out, check the temperature. If we need to go for longer, we can. But that's what we're going to start off with, okay? So, let me see real quick. Just taking care of some stuff here real quick. But yeah, that should be fine. Alright guys, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to quickly gather my ingredients. So I have my chicken right here. You're also going to need your olive oil, garlic, and lemon. Let me see. Olive oil and garlic right here. I'm going to go ahead and bring it to that right there. And then I'm also going to need, let me see, I believe oregano. There we go. Awesome. And then a little bit of balsamic vinegar. Perfect. And let's see what else. We're of course going to need the quinoa. Right here. As well as our tomatoes. And salt and pepper. Perfect. So from here, I believe this is everything that I need right now, or that I have. So I don't have cucumbers. I don't have the ingredients to make the tzatziki sauce, unfortunately. But again, you guys can totally create that stuff if you would like. And the tzatziki sauce is relatively simple to make. I'll get to that in a moment. But the first thing we want to do is get the chicken marinade started. Alright? So I'm going to take a bowl and a cutting board, because we're going to be cutting the chicken. And let me see. first thing we're going to do is in the bowl, I'm going to add about a tablespoon to a tablespoon and a half of olive oil, alright? So I'm just going to do that by volume. Let's see, 1 tablespoon is about 15 milliliters, so 2 would be about 30, so I'm going to go for about 25-ish, 24. That should be good. From there, I'm going to use about half a lemon's juice. Let's see. Just squeezing that lemon juice all in there. I'm just going to take the seeds out afterwards. There we go. Take out all the seeds. Man, there are a whole lot of fire trucks. Don't know if you guys can hear that. A lot of sirens going on in the background. You're gonna need about half a teaspoon of dried oregano, so I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. That looks good. And from here, about half a teaspoon of salt. I'm just gonna give it a few twists and a little bit of pepper. And now I'm gonna need my garlic. So I'm going to take about a clove, maybe 2. I'll just do 1. I might need to do 2 because these are relatively small. I'm just going to mince these pretty finely. There we have our peeled garlic. Now, I'm going to mince these up. Now, if you guys know me at all, you know that I don't follow sports except CrossFit in any capacity. So, who's playing the Steelers today? You guys are gonna have to fill me in. Who's playing them and who's the favorite to win? I mean, I would assume it's probably Steelers, but you guys gotta let me know. If you guys wanna let me know in the chat. Jacksonville. What's like the name? The Jacksonville. I don't know what the names of the teams are except like the Steelers. I want to say Jaguars, but that's probably not it. That's just alliteration. Oh wow, was I actually right? Wow. Swear, did not know that before. Complete guess, Jacksonville Jaguars. It's pretty good. Oh geez, this isn't going amazingly well. Not the best at mincing garlic. There we go, I know. Somehow. Just gonna give it another pass through real quick. So we have our garlic. And now we actually have to cut our chicken. So I'm gonna give that a quick mix right here. There we go. And now I'm gonna use about 5 ounces of chicken, alright? I'm gonna cut these into relatively rough pieces. I don't want it to be super fine, because otherwise it's just gonna kind of be a pain to place. But you don't want such big chunks that it takes forever to cook, so. Let's see. That's 3.8, off by a good bit there. 4.9, I'll take that. Alright, so you can see here I have a little strip, and then I'm just going to cut them to about, I don't know, inch pieces-ish. I'm just going to throw them right in there. Now, how I'm going to be cooking them on the broiler is going to kind of be, it's going to kind of simulate cooking it on the grill, because I live in an apartment complex. I can't necessarily, I don't have access to a grill, and when it's a lot colder out, some of you guys might not be able to grill either, but if you have a house, you might be able to grill like on a porch or something like that, but that's just my situation. So from here, I'm just going to mix everything around, make sure everything gets nice and incorporated. Then I'm going to let this sit for about 15 minutes, basically while we prep everything else. This is going to just marinate, and ideally we'd want to be like half an hour or something like that, but since we're in a little bit of a rush, we don't want it to be too long. Perfect, so I'm just going to set that aside. I need to wash my hands because I handled protein. There we go. And now I just need to clean up my area a little bit. And I'm going to start prepping the actual salad here. Gotta clean all this stuff up. Alright guys, so from here I'm going to start prepping the salad. So you guys can kind of use whatever ingredients you like for the salad. Typically for a like real more Greek inspired salad, kind of the building blocks would be cucumber, specifically Persian. Not exactly sure why, but that's what I saw in a lot of the recipes. But basically cucumber, you would use tomatoes, red onions, and then I believe olives and feta cheese, as well as I think that's overall it. So if you want to be really strict and try to stick to the recipe as much as you can, I would use those ingredients. I don't like olives and feta cheese, and I don't have cucumber and red onions, unfortunately. So basically my ingredients, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have bell pepper and tomatoes, as well as I'm going to use some spring mix, and I'm going to use that within it to incorporate some more greens, okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to start off by grabbing another bowl. A lot of bowls today, and I'm going to assemble our very simple dressing in that, alright? So let me go ahead and grab my scale. Go back here. And then from here, what we're going to need is olive oil and balsamic vinegar. Let's see, so what we're going to need is about a tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. So that's about 15 milliliters. There we go, 14, that's totally fine. And then I'm going to need some more olive oil. I'm going to use about a tablespoon, or maybe 2 even, because again, we're not going to use the entirety of this dressing. All we're going to do is toss our veggies in it, and then I'm going to kind of strain out all the excess liquid, and then from there we're just going to place it into our final bowl. We're not actually going to have it in here because it's just a lot of dressing. It's unnecessary. I'm also going to do a little bit more of dried oregano, so I'm just going to sprinkle this in. Just like a few sprinkles, not too much. Then again, some more olive oil, or excuse me, salt and pepper. So it's very similar to that original seasoning, or the chicken marinade, except now we're just going to be excluding the lemon. I'm just going to give it a whisk. This might be a little bit difficult to emulsify because, as you can see, the vinegar and olive oil don't really want to mix. And that's totally fine. All you need to do is just try to mix it up the best you can. Slowly coming together. Awesome. So from here, guys, I'm going to clean my area a little bit. In addition, I'm only going to put the quinoa on once our chicken is in the oven, just to make sure that that stays kind of warm. No need to throw it in right now. If you really want to, you could, but I'm just going to hold off. So from here, guys, I'm going to use a good amount of bell pepper. I'm going to use about half of a bell pepper, so about this much. So I'm going to cut it into relatively big pieces, but I guess dice. I need to make a chart or find a chart of like all the different sizes. Excuse me. Yeah, so cut them into strips, and then I'm going to cut them again. There we go. And you know what? I think I'll just use up the rest of my bell pepper. You can never really have too much greens. nice little bits in there. Awesome. From here, I'm just going to wash the container they were in real quick. And then I'm going to start cutting up some of my tomatoes. So I'm just going to go with a good amount. I'm just going to have them like that. That'll be totally fine. These are actually a bit old, so I might have to pick some out that look a little bit worse than the rest of them, but that's totally fine. Awesome, so that looks good. And then I'm going to quickly wash this board because I'm not really going to need it anymore. I'm going to grab a slightly larger board. I'm going to take my spring mix. I'm just going to place it on the board. I'm going to roughly chop it into smaller, just chop it up a little bit just to make sure that they're in smaller pieces. There aren't too many large leaves. It already probably is relatively small, but that's fine. I'm gonna throw this in. I'm gonna mix everything up in here. So I want that dressing to really get covered by everything. And then what I'm going to do that probably isn't the best, isn't the most useful thing, but just in order to get rid of some of that liquid, I'm going to take a strainer and I'm just going to strain it all out. So there's not really a whole lot of excess liquid left in here. So on that chicken should be good to go here. Just gonna clean my area here. Awesome, so there's our little salad. do a little bit more cleaning here real quick. Perfect. So from here, guys, I'm gonna grab a baking tray as well as a wire rack. Right. So I'm just gonna use a smaller one. I don't really need to use this large one. And I'm gonna place some aluminum foil on here. Set this aside, don't need that anymore. I'm just gonna place my chicken onto here. I want to try to strain as much of the liquid as I can, or all of the marinade off. I'm just gonna kind of spread it out a little. Another way you could do this would be to cut slightly larger pieces, skewer them, and then place them like that. And then all you need to do is flip the entire thing, the entire skewer. And you could totally do that kind of like a kebab. But for me, I don't really have skewers or anything, and this is totally fine. So again, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw it in the oven on broil high, and I'm gonna let it go for 5 minutes, take it out, flip it, and then go for another 5 minutes. Alright? So I'm gonna switch it to broil, and then throw in the top rack on the oven, and that direct high heat is gonna kind of get it pretty close to grilling, stuff like that, alright? Awesome. So from here, guys, I'm going to get started on the quinoa. So I'm going to take a small pot like this. I'm going to use half a cup of quinoa to 1 cup of water. So typically you want to double the amount of water as, you take the amount of quinoa you have and double the volume and put that amount of water in. There you go. That's what I was trying to say. So I'm going to take 1 cup of water. And then I'm going to take half a cup of quinoa. I'm just going to do that by mass. So half a cup, 4th cup is 42 grams. So a half cup is going to be 84 grams. Maybe. There we go. So we're looking at 84 grams. And of course you could do more or less depending on how many people you're feeding. Quinoa is a really great source of protein. 6 grams of protein, 2.5 grams of fat, and 27 grams of carbs. So it's a good amount of carbs, but it's also a pretty good protein source. I'm going to put this on about medium high to high, and I'm going to let that sit until it starts bubbling. I'm going to lower the heat slightly and until all the water is boiled off or gets absorbed into the quinoa. And then at that point, we're going to be able to take it off. So I'm going to do a little bit more cleaning here because we're pretty much just waiting for the quinoa and the chicken to be done in the oven, and then it's just assembly time. So it comes together pretty quick. We're looking at so far about 35 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, maybe a little bit less. I saw some of you guys were making some game day food, so what kind of foods are you guys making? If you guys want to chat that out, let me know. Be interested to see. I know someone gave me the suggestion, a viewer suggested doing different varieties of wings, so like cauliflower wings, like cauliflower bites, stuff like that. I could try real wings, like oven-baked wings, stuff like that. That's definitely something that interests me. I just need to do a little bit more research into it. But what kind of game day foods are you guys making? We did do jalapeno poppers a few weeks ago, like 2, I think. So that would be a good option for you guys. But otherwise, I know somebody's interested. There you go. Anything else? Any sort of game day foods you guys would be interested in? Let me know, because I want to make things that you guys will make alongside me. Because the whole point of this show is I want you guys to be inspired and cook along with me, not just have me cook just by myself. Things are a lot more fun when it's more like a community and stuff like that. See that quinoa is starting to come up to a boil, so I'm just going to lower the heat there a little bit. So I'm going to keep the lid on just to let it go a little bit quicker, but otherwise that'll be totally fine. Be sure, if you guys aren't following yet, to follow the channel. Tell all your friends and family about this. I want to try to help grow this channel as much as I can. Right now I'm just doing it for fun, but if I could do it more as like a side job or something like that, that'd be really awesome, because I love doing this for you guys, just like how I love coaching. Some dips would be good. I used to make a pretty good guacamole and salsa recipe, so I'm definitely I'll look into that, and then we could like do a little stream on like different healthy chip options, or maybe even homemade tortilla chips. That might be something interesting. So from here, guys, I'm going to take the chicken out. I'm going to go ahead and flip it. It's whitening up a little bit. Still definitely needs some time in there, but we're coming along for sure. Probably actually going to be a little bit longer than 10 minutes. Probably closer to 15 or 20, if I'm going to be honest. It is pretty nice, though. You can see here, you can see almost grill marks from the wire rack, which at least makes it look a little better. That's great. Awesome. Gonna throw that back in the oven. Again, probably gonna take a little bit longer. That's totally fine. I'm going to take the lid off the quinoa just so I can keep an eye on it a little bit better. Any other suggestions? Would you guys prefer more of like guacamole or something like a salsa? This salad definitely turned out pretty good. Um, Not too overwhelming flavor. So that should come pretty nicely with the quinoa and the chicken. Make sure to, again, as always, stay hydrated, guys. Salsa and guac. We could probably do that because they probably won't take too long to make that. We'll be able to do those in the same stream. Let's see, this quinoa is slowly coming along. See, the water has gone down about a third. So still probably got like another 5-ish minutes on there. Let's see. I already can't wait to eat this, so I'm just gonna I can definitely start to smell that chicken a little bit more as it's starting to cook through. So that's gonna be great. Quinoa's definitely coming along. Oh yeah, I know if you guys can hear that, I can definitely start to hear it sizzling a whole lot there. Oh yeah. Let's see if there's anything I can add to it. I don't think there's much I can. Yeah, unfortunately I don't really see any other veggies or anything like that, but that's totally fine. I'd say quinoa needs about another 2-ish minutes. And turn up the heat just a little on that. Almost there, guys. We should definitely be done before 1, so don't you worry. You guys will definitely still be able to make that the game today. almost there. Quinoa's just finishing up. About less than a minute, I'd say, for that. You know what? I think I was originally gonna go with the terracotta plate, but I think in order to contrast my red quinoa, I'll go with the cobalt blue one today. In addition, guys, I have been uploading all of the past streams to YouTube, so let me go ahead and throw that link in the description or in the chat below, just so you guys can check that out. Let me see. Awesome, there you go. So let me throw that in chat. There you go. So if you guys want to check out all the past streams, I like YouTube a little bit more. It's a little bit more user friendly to watching stuff back. So you can watch the streams either on there or on Twitch here. I don't know how long they stay on Twitch. I think it's still like 90 days, or maybe like a month or something like that. But they'll be posted on YouTube indefinitely, hopefully. So you guys can check out all the past streams. You guys could also like and subscribe to that channel to then stay updated for all the stuff that we need. Or, excuse me, for all the stuff that, for all the future uploads that go on there. Alright, this quinoa is done. So, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put it on my plate right here. There's still a tiny bit of liquid in here, but that's not really a problem. Here we have that, and then if I put that on one side, I'll then grab our salad. Put that right on here. Then I'm just going to kind of fold the two together. Kind of mix everything similar to our fall harvest salad that we had, I think like 2 weeks ago. This quinoa is going to give a nice contrast to some of these flavors as well as texture. And then what we're going to do is whenever we have our chicken, we're just going to throw it right on top. I'm going to kind of scrape all the rest of this in there. And then if you add tzatziki sauce, which for the tzatziki sauce, basically all you need is these ingredients as well as a few ones up here. So we have mint, fresh mint ideally, fresh dill, and then Greek yogurt. What you need to do is you would take a half clove of garlic-ish, or 1 clove of garlic, put that into a bowl, mix it with about a tablespoon of chopped mint, a tablespoon of chopped dill, about a cup of Greek yogurt, as well as half a lemon's juice, and then some salt and pepper. Mixing that all together. In addition, if you really wanted to, you could also add about half a cup of grated Persian cucumber. So for that, you could either grab some sort of grater like this. If you had a spiralizer, you could most likely use that as well. A spiralizer like this. Or if you had one of those kind of box graters, you could grate on the side there. That'll add a good amount of texture to the tzatziki sauce. You could then mix all together, let that sit for a few minutes to kind of let the flavors get to know each other and for everything to develop. And then you could just basically top that with a little dollop on there, or just leave it on the side to kind of dip your fork into like that. Again, I unfortunately don't have the ingredients for that, but if you did, that's what you would do for it. I'm sure there are a million different tzatziki sauce recipes. You could really even use store-bought tzatziki sauce if you really wanted to. More than likely, that's what I would have done, just because otherwise I would have had like a whole bunch of dill and a whole bunch of mint extra that I won't necessarily use. The mint would be pretty good in teas and stuff like that. And maybe on like some desserts, like if you had like a little bit of like ice cream or something like that, that would be pretty good. But otherwise, I wouldn't really want to use a whole lot of it. So you could totally do that. So let me check on the chicken. The chicken's coming along. I think it still needs a little bit more time. I'm gonna give it one more flip because that was a pretty early flip there. So let me go ahead. Chicken is definitely getting some color. I just want it to sit for a little bit longer just to get up to temperature. Maybe another 5 more minutes would definitely be good. Honestly, I don't think my broil is high enough. I would have thought they definitely would have charred a lot more by now, but otherwise, that's totally fine. Go and grab that. And throw that on for another up to 5 minutes, I think, and then from there, that should be perfect. So I'm going to do a little bit more cleaning here. Just finish everything up. Yeah, I know we're getting pretty close to the start of the game, so I apologize, but I promise if you make this recipe, it'll definitely be worth it. There's really not that much cleanup here. You only have one pot that you use, and it just needs just a relatively simple scrub because it was just quinoa. And then all you have is hopefully just the wire rack that you can just rinse off and then throw in the wash or the dishwasher, and then the aluminum foil that you can just throw away. So there's not really much that much cleanup. There's not really that much cleanup. That's what I meant. So from here, all we're doing is we're just waiting for that chicken, which should be done relatively soon. And of course, you could most likely do it a little bit quicker if you just did it on an actual grill where you can get the temperature much, much higher. or even saute it on a skillet. That would work equally as well. You might not get the same char, but honestly, I don't care that much about it, to where I would sometimes sacrifice saving a little bit of time for that. Awesome, so we're almost done here. Let me go ahead and check on the chicken. Looks good. I'm going to go ahead and just quickly check the temperature of these. Again, we're looking for about 135 to 140. Let me change it from Celsius. That one's looking good. Perfect. All these are at temperature. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to transfer it to my bowl. Perfect. There we have it, guys. Our just barely Greek-inspired chicken quinoa bowl. There we have it. Let me get that front view. Chicken smells really great. Maybe that worked. What just happened? There we go. Oh, the camera just cut out real quick. Gotta do a tiny bit of troubleshooting here, guys. I apologize. So perfect. There we go. Awesome. So, where's that bowl? There we have it. Our somewhat just barely Greek-inspired chicken quinoa bowl. Don't really know what just happened there, but that's alright. Oh, cut out again. Unfortunate. Alright. Well, thank you guys again so much for joining me for another episode of Cooking with Coach, presented by Coach Misha Live. Be sure to follow the channel if you haven't already. Tell all your friends and family about it, so we can help make the world a little bit healthier, one recipe at a time. Alright, guys, thank you so much. I'll see you guys on Wednesday at 7 p.m. See ya.